In the wake of the arrest of influential Nepali Congress leader Balkrishna Kand, alleged of involvement in the fake Bhutanese refugee scam, the national politics remains rippled. As the former Home Minister is being grilled by the investigating team on the third day of his arrest, speculations are rife about the other high-profile leaders who could well be dragged into the multi-million rupees scam. In the meantime, the runaway UML secretary Top Bahadur Raimaji continues to remain grounded, fueling more suspicion of his involvement and adding pressure on the party to reveal his whereabouts. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. The central bank slashes the bank rate by 1% through monetary review. Bank rate limited to 7.5%. Experts welcome the move. UML's top brass meeting centers on the fake Bhutanese refugee scam. UML Chair Oli says he will bring up all the details in the next House session. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan released on bail. Supreme Court had earlier ruled Imran's arrest as illegal. And defending champions and table toppers Gujarat Titans take on Mumbai Indians at the Indian Premier League tonight. Pressure on Mumbai to win. The Nepal Rashtra Bank, Nepal's central bank, has reduced bank rate by 1% as it released its third quarterly review report. This maintains the bank rate at 7.5% from the previous 8.5%. Bank rate is the interest rate charged by the central bank on the loans provided to banks and financial institutions under the protection of the government securities. Through the quarterly review of its monetary policy, the central bank has also announced of providing refinancing to various sectors identified as deserving by the National Statistics Bureau. This includes the construction sector, manufacturing sector, retail and wholesale sector that has reported of negative growth. The central bank has only recently, rescheduled loans of restaurants, poultry and a few service-related sectors. Companies and businesses that have loans of up to 20 million rupees will have the option of rescheduling until 15th of July should their applications be justified. The central bank has also raised their loan amounts to 50 million rupees. Moving on, Chief Minister of Gandaki Province, Surendraraj Pandey, has expanded his Council of Ministers. Chief Minister Pandey has added 3 leaders from Nepali Congress and 1 from Maoist Centre in his cabinet. The portfolios of the newly appointed ministers, Mahendra Dhos GC, Dipendra Bahadur Thapa and Jeet Prakash Ale from Nepali Congress and Resham Bahadur Jugjali from Maoist Centre, were announced at their oath-taking ceremony, which concluded earlier this afternoon. GC has backed agriculture and land reforms. Jugjali has been appointed physical infrastructure, development and transport management. Ale has been entrusted with financial affairs, while Thapa has backed the Ministry of Industry, Tourism, Forest and Environment. All the 4 ministers were administered oath of office and secrecy by Gandaki Province Chief Prithviman Gurung. Prior to this, Gandaki Chief Minister Pandey had appointed Saraswati Aryal Tiwari and from Nepali Congress and Sushila Simkhada from Maoist Centre. They are also yet to be assigned their ministerial portfolios. Pandey was appointed the Chief Minister of the province after the government led by Khagraj Adhikari from UML was toppled on 22nd of April. The Provincial Assembly has 60 members in total, which includes 27 from Nepali Congress, 7 from Maoist Centre, 1 from Unified Socialists, 22 from UML and 2 from Rashtriya Prajatantra Party. CPN UML's Central Committee meeting has held group-wise discussion on the political report presented by the party chair KP Sharma Oli. Earlier, 9 groups were formed which discussed the report presented by the UML chair. Even as the groups discussed the political report, the ongoing fake Bhutanese refugee scam has dominated the issues of the meeting. A standing committee meeting of the party has been scheduled for tomorrow morning. The standing committee meeting will review the comments furnished by each of the 9 groups, as the recommendations by the standing committee will then be discussed during the next central committee meeting for endorsement that has been scheduled for later tomorrow. Meanwhile, addressing the party leaders, Oli has said he is closely watching the developments of the case and that he would speak on it during the next meeting of the Federal Parliament. The party has decided to mobilize 341 members at the local level to strengthen the party's grassroots. Moving on, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has said the active participation of the private sector is a must for achieving sustainable development goals. Speaking at a program held in the capital by the Investment Board, Premier Dahal said the government is committed to work with international partners to attract foreign investments and create job opportunities.
In our effort to achieve development goals, we have identified several key sectors that require significant investment. These sectors include physical infrastructure, energy, tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing. We need the support and partnership of the private sector and financial institutions to align with our efforts in achieving nation's sustainable development goals.
During the event, Finance Minister Prakash Sharan Mahat said Nepal is in a need of resources for development, adding that existing liberal policies had encouraged domestic and international investors. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal is gearing up for state visits to neighbouring nations India and China. Amid the preparations, discussions are rife on what agendas Nepal should put forth during the visit. Experts have opined the government should emphasize on bringing grand programs from these two economic giants over loans. Foreign affairs experts of the likes of Hiranyalal Shrestha have urged the government to take initiatives in ensuring the implementation of the Belt and Road initiatives by China, which Nepal had signed some 6 years ago. Shrestha has opined Nepal government should ride on Chinese President Xi Jinping's commitments to the projects in Nepal and call for grants from the northern neighbour. The Chinese president had visited Nepal in 2019. Other experts also opine the government of Nepal should give BRI the same priority it has given to the American Grant Program, MCC. Assistant Professor Krishna Raj Acharya has suggested Prime Minister's delegation should also discuss the Nepal-China railway project and the potential climate impacts on mountainous regions due to the development projects. The delegation has also been recommended to ensure Nepal's policy of non-alignment remains intact while it deals with the two neighbours. Meanwhile, the dates for Premier Dahal's India and China visit have yet to be decided. The Election Commission has corresponded with the Office of Auditor General to review the audit report submitted by political parties with the aim of ensuring good governance and accountability. A meeting of the Commission held yesterday decided to seek support from the Office of the Auditor General to tally the audit reports submitted by parties with the ones that they have published. The Commission had not been able to review reports citing lack of human resources. The Commission has said there were evidences of irregularity in the audit reports of political parties. Based on the Election Commission Act, submitting wrong reports can result into a scrapping of the political party. Parties are legally required to submit audit reports to the Commission within 6 months since the end of a fiscal year. So far, 82 parties have submitted their financial details and they have been directed to publish their reports within 7 days. 9 other parties that had submitted their reports passed their deadlines, 5 parties that have not submitted their reports for 2 consecutive years, and 16 that have not submitted their last year's reports have been asked for clarification. The Election Commission has the authority to scrap parties that fail to submit their reports for 3 consecutive years. It may be recalled some 2 years ago, the Commission had scrapped 42 political parties for failing to submit their audit reports. Now, the International Nurses' Day is being observed by organizing various programs in the country as well. Nursing colleges and related organizations have marked the day by organizing several programs, including morning rallies. The International Nurses' Day is celebrated around the world every 12th of May, which happens to be the anniversary of Florence Nightingale's birthday. According to the Nepal Nursing Council, there are a total of 105,000 nurses in Nepal. Despite up to PhD in nursing education in the country, nurses have shared the grievances of lack of professionalism and low pay. Nurses who pursue the profession by spending between 1 to 1.2 million rupees for their education have complained of receiving very basic monthly salaries of 10 to 12,000 rupees. At least 8,000 nurses are produced in Nepal from around 250 government and private institutions each year. However, the number of nurses pursuing their career abroad is on the rise because of issues related to professionalism and higher pay. While a nurse serves up to 3 patients in developed countries, a single nurse takes care of 20 to 30 patients in our country. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what do you term the government preparation to slash budget allocation for education and health sectors? Your options are A. Lacking sensitivity, B. Consequence of inadequate resources, and C. Lack of spending capacity. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Let's move on to the international update. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan has been freed from custody a day after the Supreme Court ruled his dramatic arrest on corruption charges as illegal. Judges released Khan on protected bail, meaning he cannot be re-arrested for at least 2 weeks. Earlier, Khan told the media he believed he would be detained again immediately after his release. The 70-year-old's arrest escalated tensions across the country. Many analysts believe Khan's election win in 2018 happened with the help of the military, which both parties denied. But he later fell out with the army. After a series of defections and amid mounting economic crisis, he lost his majority in the parliament. Since being ousted less than 4 years into his term, he has become one of the military's most vocal critics, and analysts say the army's popularity has fallen. And his Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or PTI says the charges against him, which relate to gifts given to him by foreign leaders while he served as Prime Minister, are politically motivated. G7 finance ministers are meeting in Japan ahead of the leaders' summit as finance ministers and central banks' chiefs are discussing a wide range of topics, including the U.S. debt standoff and preventing Russia's sanction evasion. Measures to counter China were also reportedly being debated. Finance leaders of the Group of Seven or G7 are meeting today for the second day of a 3-day summit in the coastal Japanese city of Niigata. The summit is setting the financial agenda for an anticipated meeting of the grouping's leaders in Hiroshima next week. On the agenda for talks are topics like support for Ukraine, global economic growth, inflation, and the U.S. standoff over raising its national debt ceiling. While China plays an important role in most of the issues, it was reportedly not listed as an official topic for the closed-door meetings. Another major topic that was said to dominate discussions was the domestic political standoff over the U.S. debt ceiling and potential default. While the group's current chair, Japan, is seeking to diversify supply chains and reduce its heavy reliance on China, G7 countries have been seemingly wary of how far they could go in countering China. Meanwhile, the G7 finance chiefs are meeting at a time when aggressive U.S. and European monetary tightening begin to weigh on global growth and stoke fears of financial instability. After the recent failure of several U.S. banks, the G7 will discuss ways to strengthen the global financial system and combat risks of digital bank runs, Japanese officials have said. Simmering U.S.-China tensions also cloud the outlook for the global economy that is already under pressure from signs of weakness in the world's second-largest economy, China. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.